afternoon to everybody. Welcome back to this masterclass this afternoon. It's a great for, I think, the third visit over the past few years, and it's a really big pleasure to be working with these fantastically talented young people who I know you've been listening to a little bit in some of the classes earlier on this week. And the first person that's going to play for us this afternoon is Jaeyoon, who's going to play the BACH BUSONI Chaconne. And I'd like her to play through that first, and I'm sure you'd appreciate that, and then we'll talk about it afterwards. So please welcome Jaeyoon. Thank you. Thank you. And great pleasure to hear you play. Please have a seat. Thank you. You can have my score. I have my score too, so that's good. Just to say to everyone here that I'm sure you know this is a big favourite of concert programs. So perhaps it's, I don't know whether it's still in fashion. One time it was incredibly in fashion and everybody was playing it. Perhaps we've seen that passing, but it's a great piece, great big chunk of meat, and whether it's in the version that we hear on the violin, the Bach, of course the original for violin, which is absolutely amazing and a real feat of strength and concentration on their energy and power, musical power, or whether we see it in the, any of the versions that have been written by various people who've transcribed it. Particularly, we know, obviously, this is one of the most famous. We also know, of course, the Brahms one. Have you had a look at that? Yeah, just for the left hand. Fiendish. Really difficult what he wrote for us for that. But it's really fantastic. So it's a great piece, and it's a very good concert piece as well. One problem with the music is that it can be quite thickly written and quite big and chunky in its conception, of course, because that's Busoni's romantic version of it. And the problem with that is that it can all sound very thick and very heavy. And there are very few moments of light in it. So when we do get those moments, we really have to work hard to find them and also to find different tone colours and different sounds. The other problem, of course, is that it is written by Busoni, who's given us all these directions and various dynamic directions and also speed directions, but a lot of it is forte and above when it's written. And to try and pace and grade those really well, and to make it the clarity of the texture, and also to make somehow when we build a long crescendo, to actually be able to build it a little bit better than you did perhaps today. Some of the things that you do are very nice. I like them very much because you are obviously very sensitive to the fact that it is loud. It can be a bit overpowering and loud all the time, and you really did try in some moments to be very subtle and to bring it right down, which I was very impressed by, and also impressed by the way that your concentration is also very good, well done. I think you can improve several things here in this playing, and we can have a work towards that. I don't know how you feel about the way that you play your chords and your loud sounds. It looks to me a little bit stiff and a little bit just as if your elbows are quite far in here. So the sound is a tiny bit steely. It needs to be a bit rounder and a bit more warm. And I think you can get that from opening up here by gripping in with the elbow when we play. It gives us a very direct sound. So, oops, somebody very, very tall has been sitting on here. Okay, good. Well, that's better, thank you. I think even opening, which is marked forte, which is very hard because it's not very, we don't want to be too big because we've got such a long way to go. But if you press from steely from here, you don't nearly do it as nastily as that. But if you do use too much of a direct forearm touch, it becomes a little bit steely instead of round. And I think you're aiming for this romanticism, this romantic, warm, round sound right from the start. You do just left hand to start with, or both hands? Yeah, both hands, good. So you just a little bit more give in your arms. It's weighty, but it's warm. And it doesn't want to be that sort of steely. That's one thing. And the other thing I think is a sense of direction. I think, when you think about this music, it's easy when something's slow to just get stuck in being slow. You're sort of stuck in that moment, but actually it loses direction. Now, if you imagine that for the violinists doing this, it could be the same problem for them too, because it's massive, but they can also, if they run out of bow because something's so slow, it's very hard to keep it moving. Here we don't have the same problem because we can just sit and wait forever until the sounds are decayed. I think you need to think forward a little bit more in general, because it feels to me like you just put the brakes on a lot and I kind of lose what you're trying to do. So we talk about all those various bits as we go through, but certainly let's start from the beginning first of all, and just aim for a little bit more warmth, and just try to make me feel like you're actually embracing the sound and embracing the piano. So you're holding the sound in your arms. So use your arms rather than attacking it. Okay, try that for me. That's a little bit better, but now if you think more of the horizontal line, we know what a chaconne is, don't we? Can you explain to your audience what a chaconne is?
It was a dance from the Baroque times, and it was very popular in Spain and France, and it's a dance of 3 beats, and normally it's like a saraband, very similar to saraband. The second beat is the important one, and it's also discussed many similarities of the characters between Passacaglia and Chaconne.
Yeah. What's the differences? What are the differences? Do you know?
Passacaglia has this bass line.
Correct. Repetitive. It just repeats itself. Yeah. And with the chaconne, it's more of a harmonic pattern that's repeated, isn't it? Which is what we see through here. So absolutely. So it's the harmony that we're looking at, which is slightly different. Now, the most important word you said in that whole thing was dance. Yeah. Okay. The last thing it sounds like is a dance, really. When you look at this, you think this is chunky, but it needs to feel like, yes, it's moving, not a fast dance, but it's moving and it's going forward. Mm-hmm. And if it's dancing, it's propelling from one leg to the other. It's not standing still. Mm-hmm. That's important. So remember that when you're thinking about it. Now, when you played it for me just now, it was a little bit vertical. So you're trying hard, very hard, to use a little bit more weight and a bit more freedom in the arm. But it still became... I felt like this, just a little bit, as if I'm not feeling a horizontal line. Partly legato, you could even, if you want to, and I would encourage you to do that, just to feel it a little bit more legato helps with the feeling of the sound and the forward movement. But don't dig every beat, okay? Try it for me. Go on, very good. Go on, it's great. Relax those arms, thank you. Yeah, even that, you know, ta-dee, that is given, that B flat major chord is given an accent. We don't need that. Ta-ta, it's ta-da. Even though you're feeling that the phrase goes on, you accent it too much, it's slightly out of kilter for this sound. And go on there. So you just think just a little bit more, I don't know, just without too angular. Okay. Yeah, try it a bit more smooth. You know, nice creamy smoothie ice cream. You know, I like ice cream. Do you?
I do.
Good. Well, enjoy it. Feel it creamy. Thank you. Can we herald this? Something different. Busoni gives us molto energico, real energy. So suddenly we've had 8 bars of really stating our harmonic pattern, haven't we? And then suddenly we get this something out of the blue, this energy. So we have to find da da dum da 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 da. Your harmony is around it, but in the middle there's some energy going on. So let's hear it. Yeah, don't just stay in the same sleepy mode. Yeah. Yeah, really strict rhythm. Ba 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 ba. Really strict. Da 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 da. Without being angular. Oh, so hard to do. Yes. Don't have to push too much. You're only at forte still. Shape it. Thank you. Come on. Good. Okay. So the sudden, and then you change manual. You're not on a harpsichord, of course you're not. But think it, or an organ. But you think it. Yeah, think that here we are on a different manual. So don't finish too. You're almost too musical. No. Then change. So that you have time to shift. Yeah. Okay. Of yourself, you're kind of following what your fingers are doing. I'm not convinced yet that you're in charge of what you're doing. I can't quite feel it from you. I feel you're a very good girl, you're doing what I'm saying, but I can't feel it coming from you. Can you be a little bit more committed to what you do? Absolutely there. Okay, once again. Thank you very much. Excellent, good girl. Yes, thank you. Right, thank you. Hooray. You switched on. Thank you very much. You're absolutely alert to what we are doing there. Thank you very much. Very much better. And I felt it then. But I couldn't the first time. Maybe you're just trying so hard to do what I'd said that sometimes that's a difficulty when someone's teaching you and you try to do what they say and you don't necessarily believe it. You know, and you try to believe it. And if you don't believe it, that's fine, as long as you can do something that convinces me otherwise, or convinces whoever's working with you otherwise. There's no rules here. We're just all trying to get a good performance from you in the end, which it was, but we're trying to make it even better. So, yes, be convinced yourself as well. And if you're not, then find a way of doing it that might be more convincing for yourself. Now, here, the next section, we have Le Molto Espressivo, and he gives you this rather lovely melodic line in the top. And you did something with it, which was very good. You gave us some nice shaping when you played it the first time. I think it could be a little bit more rhythmic still. You've got plenty of time to start pulling things around later on. And if you start to waver with your pulse or your tempo, then it's hard to realize where we're going with the music. Yeah? So just in time still. Sorry. A little bit, just a bit more moving. Otherwise you'll be getting too slow. Yeah. Keep your rhythm. Good. Now you've got these two parts, da, 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 orchestrate, yes, and then quasi forte, da, da, different, something different. Da, da. Give us a little bit more of your bass line, quasi forte, and also with this not only top, but you've got also in unison in both hands. So let's hear both, yeah? 1, 2, da, da, and then sort of separate the two so that you're orchestrating them a bit more. So that everyone and a section of the orchestra at other times. Yeah, try that. And not too much left hand now, that's too much left hand. Still the top two. Nice. Yes, okay, fine. So with this, you're now doing this. I'm preparing for the piano ahead of time. It's like we did at the beginning there. Don't do that. This is completely separate. It's like somebody coming in and saying, oh, this is lovely, da, 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 and interrupt you, da, 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 interrupt. So there's an interruption going on. Is this somebody being a nuisance? Try it, but don't be too musical. You see, you do this, da, 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 da. It doesn't have an effect. It's already preparing for what's coming next. Shouldn't. Then cut. Then. So you've got a difference. Layer it differently. Okay. Try it. Good girl. Well done. That you know what you want to listen to. What do you want? Where do you want to? Where does your ear want to take you? And where do you want to lead the audience?
I wanted to lead with the left hand.
Yeah, very good. I think so. Okay. We've got so much else going on, which is good. That's fine. That's absolutely right. That will come out anyway. This is in the middle, so it needs just a little bit more balance on the top. Yeah. Yeah, but there's a crescendo in the right hand then, yeah? Then you want to bring it up, bring the right hand up. You know, it's not always in the background, it needs to rise up and pop out, yeah? Right, you know, this again, what does he say here? What are the words?
Moving,
yeah,
but very measured.
Measured, correct, absolutely. But a little bit more a little bit più mosso, right? Yeah. I mean, you hear some people play this and they go off at a crazy rate, you know, really, really fast at that moment. And I don't agree with that at all because I think it still needs to build gradually. It's you know, sort of organically, it has to come out of those first 2 pages. However, at the moment, it feels just a little bit cautious. You know, it feels as if you're da-dee-da-dee-da-dee-da-dee-da-dee-da-da. You're just doing it because you're trying to hold it, instead of it sounding exciting. I think it's even with that, he says leggero ma marcato. Just a bit more moving. Feels a bit cautious. Yeah. Yes. Good girl. Okay, very good girl, very good, much, much better. Now, can you be careful not to give us too much of the staccato in the right hand? It's not that, it's again, thinking of it, not pizzicato, but more bowed. Bum, bum. Otherwise, it's doesn't sound stylish. Yep. So a little longer. Right hand. Yep. Good girl. Good. Excellent. It's not asleep. Hello. Welcome. It's really good. Really, really good. Now, when we have to this, so we have and then this. This is different kind of octaves from these that we've had. Take it down. Make it more exciting because it's piano at that moment. Yes, he's taken it right down. So they have to be a different kind of octave staccato from what you've had in the left hand. So think about that. That's very good. When we get to this, where are we here? These. Those suspensions in the middle, which you do, but you just need to hold them a little bit longer so they're a bit longer. Da-dee-dum, da-dee-dum. You know, it's all about this violin suspension, holding on the poggiatura, di-ram, not da, da. Yeah? Okay, let's do it once again. It's terrific now. Well done. No, too short. No, please. No. Thank you. Starts to make a bit more sense. Audience can feel you more as well, and you're speaking to them. Well done. Now, when you've got this largamente, what does that mean?
Larger?
Yeah, more broad.
Yeah.
More broad. It's slightly as if, you know, it's been going on and we've been slightly accelerating. It's like, suddenly, just hold the brake and a little bit bigger. So again, this is another moment when you can allow yourself to use a little bit more of your arm weight here instead of pushing from the top. So you have to think very carefully when you get there. You know, it can sound, but even that, within that, we need some definition in terms of what's important. So your outline is this. Isn't it? And we don't, these, he writes marcatissimo with an accent, yes, but not to the extent that it wants to cover over what you're doing on the outside in those pillars of sound. B, ba, B, yes? All right, so think about it and think about using your arms a little more, please. Not quite so tight, just tight. Relax. Try for me. Yeah, the attack is, at the moment from you, is a little bit vertical. So you do this. You hit down. Not hit, but you just push down too quickly. Be careful, just push out. So it's touch, like touch, push, touch, push, touch, push. So you feel that, yeah? The energy goes through the note. Yes. Thank you. panic, I feel it. Now, you know, sometimes we have, in this writing particularly, there are moments, like this last passage where we've just stopped, where you actually have to slightly stretch the third beat in order for it to every note to sound and every weight to happen. If you try to fit absolutely into the strict rhythm that you've set yourself, then you'll get stuck because you can't fit it in, and then you're panicking, and then you can't play everything, and it sounds as if you're just sliding over the notes. If you can try and make way for every single note, so listen to everything. If it means very slightly stretching the third beat, da-da-da-da-da-da-da, then do it. Just for now, obviously we can put it back in shape in a bit, but it just needs, for me, I think, just, have I lost you? Hello? Are we, you can hear me? No? You can? Can everybody else hear me? Yes, okay. I think I might be losing sound. Sorry.
Yeah, it'll be a tech person here. We might be able to change over in the
Okay. All right, jolly good.
But we've still got you on the stream.
Oh, that's okay then. Jolly good, as long as they can hear me. As long as you can hear me in the hall, yeah? Oh, great. Okay. Very good, thank you. Smashing. So try and stretch that third beat so that you can really feel that you can hear everything, and that you're just make way, push it, that you make way for it. Don't try and fit in.
Okay.
Yeah? So let's do from dim diddly dum bum bim diddle diddle da, and he says don't hurry. Just hold it. Be in charge. Yeah? Be yourself. I'm going to say one other thing that I might think might help. That was much better. If you could do this da-da, think through the long note. Yeah, try again. That's it. Yes, so this is where we get to. The next bit is where I want you to do da-da-dum, bum, bim, bum, 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 da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Just hold it for now, yes? Okay, so now what you're trying to do is you're trying to double dot this, aren't you? Da-da-da-da-dum, ba-dee. If it goes straight, it's easier. Da-da-da-da-da-da-dum. Yeah, instead of da-da-da-da-da-dum, da-da. That's making it more difficult for you, actually, because you can't get that in time. So just think straightforward. Is better. The last one, da-da-da-da-dee-da-dee-da. Here, where are we? Over there. Yeah, they're there. This one, please don't rush off because you're worried about this. Just take your time around that top. You need time to hear everything. You know, if you're speaking very fast or talking very fast, you can't understand something. So people don't. If you do a WhatsApp message and you put it on twice as fast, you can't understand it. Yeah? And if you slow it down on a once time, you know, as it should be, yeah, of course you can make sense of it. So this is too WhatsAppy. Okay. Just make it, put it down to the, you know, its original, and it'll be fine. Let's do from there, can we? That's already, for me, better, because I can hear it. I hope the audience can hear that too. I'm sure they can. But it sounds like, oh yes, suddenly that makes sense. Before it was just too rushed. Okay, fine. Let's go on, because I'm aware of the time. I want to just try and have a little look at this bit. This is, he says, well, Busoni says, tranquillo. That's Busoni. Of course, all the markings are Busoni. of course. How do we feel when we play tranquillo? Should be very calm, very serene and very steady. It's a little bit lumpy. Now we have to work towards it absolutely sounding as if nothing's moving. It's just floating at that moment. So if you could give me a little bit before it and go into it, can you? Okay, right, so very good. Your serenity is working, very hard to do, but when we get to this, I don't want to hear too much of that. I just want to hear this, it's kind of atmosphere. The right hand is providing atmosphere at that moment, so. Just want to hear that, and the right hand, it's a bit like when we practice too hard and we practice so well that everything becomes daga 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 because we practiced it. So forget about practicing and just play it with listen to your ear, what your ear tells you, and at that moment, thank you, at that moment you could really, really lose that right hand. So let's just do back from here again. It's a tiny weeny bit slow, just keep it moving. With the unicorder, yeah? Very good. Okay, right, that was so much better, and I could really feel the atmosphere at that moment, and I could hear the balance much better. It's more imaginative and more creative, yeah, instead of just playing what's in front of us. Now, with this next section, distinct, so a little bit more. Let's hear the tops. I want to hear the top pings of bells at that moment, yeah? Not quite so loudly, but just ping them gently. It's better, but just make sure they're tiny little pings. It's like tiny, it's not great big bells or cymbals. It's tiny little ones, yeah? Beautiful, fab. Yeah, do you feel the shape of that, or do you just want to play that da da little day, dim dim ta 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 ti ta? There's a lot of that in this music because it's the way it goes all the time. But you still have to have that intent in there, not just jolly. It's not jolly. It's the far from it. From where again? Just feel the tension in the music. Yeah. No. Yes. Yeah, okay, that's a little bit too much now, but the idea is right. Can we have more of this note, the middle note? Yeah, and the top note as well. Yeah, okay, once again. Got the pedal longer, long, good. Where we arrive, you're not quite there, nearly, And the next place, of course, is this, where we really have to stretch. This is another place where we need a WhatsApp message going at half speed there, right?
Yep.
But this one, much better, much, much better. Let's just do from here. The cellerando is happening, which is great. But arrive, please, when you arrive there. Just sense it, sense arrival. Otherwise, it just goes on and on and on. Yeah, once again. Yeah, from maybe from here. That we're absolutely putting the brake on. So and these need to be big, not just your right hand, but your left hand as well. Let's have some of the bass line too. This is very thin, otherwise it's too much this, but allegando, fortissimo. And throw your weight down and then transfer your weight up. Throw your weight down, transfer up. A lot of this, please, with a lot of open arms. Otherwise, you're going to play like this. And you're going to be totally restricted. You need to open. Yes. All of them, da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da. Make sure that they go to the end of them, in your head as well, not that they're just being finished. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Go through them, go through them. Okay, good. That's all good. We've got to stop soon, but I'm just very conscious of two things I wanted to work on. One was this. Where we start this very, very big build-up towards the end. And when we start here, if you start too loud, you're not going to make it all the way through. And it is basically one long crescendo, isn't it? And what else happens? As well as getting louder.
It gets thicker.
Thicker as well. And what else? Animando, so it's increasing as well. Yeah. So it gets basically the whole thing is coming up to this big climax where we hold it, yeah. But we need to start it from further back. When you played the first time round, it was kind of starting from maybe forte and ending up fortissimo. Not enough. It needs to start right as if you're in the distance and come forward, and then it's the most amazing climax. But unless you do that, it's not going to make any sense to the audience. Again, it's going to just sound like it's just loud. Yeah? So let's drop. We've got from here. Working on different there, yeah. It's not too loud. Not too loud, this is quiet. Start softly. Distance. Come forward a little bit. don't believe it. You don't believe it. You got there. The crescendo was fabulous. And we arrived there. That was really good. Well done. Now, when you get to here, this says più largamente. So you're in charge of this più largamente. This more broadening. Da-da-da-dee-da-da-dee-da-da-da-da-da-dee-da-da-da. It has to come from inside you, this intensity. If you just do it because you think you have to slow down, it won't work. You must feel every single intensity of the rhythm. Da-da-da-da. The left hand particularly with the triplets, really important, aren't they? Where are we? Sorry, I'm in the wrong space here. Yeah, but this is it. In every one at that moment, and this doesn't have to be ugly. You don't have to hit it. You absolutely have to believe it. Da 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 dee da 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 da. Commit to those triplets in here. Yeah?
Yep.
Try it. Good girl. Come on. Come on. Hold it. Think through. Yes. Come on. And if I play with you, it pushes you just that one bit further than you want to go, which is really good. And you need to commit that bit more. Con fuoco. That wasn't con fuoco. It was polite. What does con fuoco mean?
Fire.
With fire! With fire! Right, so let's do da 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 dee da dee da dee da 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 dee. No, ba 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 ba. Come on, you can do it. You have everything there. You can do it. No problem. Good. Yeah. No. Ta and cut. Clean foot. Okay. I'm going to have to stop. I'm aware of the time running out. I'm so sorry about that. But that's really, really important that I wanted to cover that big crescendo, because when it came from so far back, so much more exciting. And then when you get there, if something says, or if you feel the energy, let it go. Don't be frightened. Allow yourself. Because you have it all there. You can do anything. You can fly. Do it. Thank you. Well done. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Don. Good. Thank you very much, everyone. So next, Ido. We have Ido. I think somebody needs to just... Did you want to have a go at this, or maybe not? Okay. So, hello. You're Ido, is that how I say your name? Ido, how do I say your last name? Zeev. Yeah, very nice to meet you, Ido. Very good. Thank you very much.
I'm very honored.
Oh, it's a very big pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's grand. And you're playing the whole sonata?
I'm playing the whole sonata.
Lovely.
So
Great.
you just tell me what to...
Well, we'll hear it, and then we can see a big picture.
Okay.
It's good. So Ido is going to play for us the Sonata No. 1 of GINASTERA, and it's 4 movements, right? So we're going to hear all of it. Very good. Thank you very much, Ido, whenever you're ready.
Thank you very much for everybody coming.
Well, congratulations. This is very good playing. And really, bravo. Yeah, and actually, please sit down. The one thing that I think is in this sonata is one of the most difficult things to do. Okay, all the fast and stuff, the difficult, speedy stuff is hard, but the most difficult thing is to get the atmosphere in that third movement, which you absolutely had everybody gripped. And I really applaud you for that, because that with simple notes like this, just in the simple notes in the third movement, I mean, just one note at a time, pianissimo, atmosphere, somehow you have an inner intensity which communicates really well what you feel about that movement, and it came through very, very powerfully in absolutely the right way. And I was so glad at that point that I asked you to play the whole sonata, because I think without that we would have seen a completely different side of you. There we really saw what you're about, and I was really impressed by that, and the ability to hold the audience at that moment and to keep them as still as they were. There wasn't a sound, and that's you. That's your power that holds that, and the music, of course, but you through the music that holds that power. And congratulations, because that's really, really very fine, and very fine indeed. Of course, the rest of it's also very good. I'm not saying that way it wasn't at all. And there's not a lot that I would want to change in many ways from what you're doing, because it's very exciting, and I can really feel that you have the whole piece, the scope of the whole piece measured out in your head, where you want to go to, where you want to build towards, and how you want to make it sound. I think, if anything, the thing that I would want more from you, we're never satisfied, are we? Whatever anyone does, and you're probably the same with yourself as well. What I would want from you is a little bit more articulation in some places where I can't always hear what's going on. There's some very good noise going on, but I can't quite make out what bits of it are important and what bits aren't. So I think some balancing, a bit of textural control that could be a bit better, and certainly some of the articulation. When you have repeated in patterns, da 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 dee, da dee, da 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 da. I want to hear that more powerfully rather than it's a little bit sleepy. So I could just do with that, and that would really tighten it up and make it, you know, even more shining bright, because it's already very much there. This sonata is mid-50s, I think, yeah? 1952, something like that, is it? 54, it's copyright, yeah. It's written in the 50s. And it's a little bit, I think it comes after the pieces that we know about the three Argentinian dances, yeah. I think it comes after that, which, yeah, I think so. I think. It's more, yeah, I think it does, because those are more, in a way, I mean, this is all nationalistic, all of the writing, but those are more, in a way, aren't they, more gaucho, although we've still got some cowboy gaucho stuff in this too. But they're even, you know, especially with the middle one, which is very, very quiet and more lyrical in a way. This one has, I think, he's using nationalist and folky themes, but it's not quite so obvious. That it's more in a rhythmic pattern. Now, in my opinion, you know, the rhythm in this music is everything. It's, of course, in all music, it's extremely important. It's the element of the music that makes the music live. If the rhythm's good, it's the lifeblood of the music, and that's what this needs even more. By showing with that articulation I'm talking about, is to show that real sense of rock-steady rhythm that you have inside you. You have it, but I could have even more, and I think it's partly technical. I think it's partly that sometimes you're a bit frightened to just feel that rhythm in the articulation. So if we can show a bit more of the articulation and the rhythm, I think this particular first movement will live a little bit better. Again, this is another piece where we have to be very careful, especially with the first and last movements, that we're not too bang crash, you know, and it just sounds as if it's one big explosion. And again, we need perhaps a little bit better of, as I say, about the textural definition every now and again, so that we can really make some music out of it and out of the rhythm. It's hard because he writes allegro marcato for this first movement, and writes forte, and a lot of it is forte. I don't think we have much relief really. It's either forte or fortissimo. We have the second subject, which is in piano, yeah, which is more dolce e pastorale, which is okay, fine. We have that, but a lot of the writing is forte for bars and bars and bars, and that's very hard to do, because you've still naturally got within that forte, you've got rise and fall, haven't you, of lines and texture. It's a little bit like being able to see through the texture a little bit better than we can at the moment, and not thinking of it just blanket, matte, loud, you know. It's got to have a little bit more transparency. So I think if we could just work on that to start with, and just see if we can put that in place better, and then look at a little bit in one or two of the other movements, just to get that real rhythmic drive. I remember going to, I think it was San Juan, where we were in a market square and we saw an older man who was listening to this amazing folk music, Latin American, of course, and it had the most tremendous beat and rhythm. It was just street musicians, you know, but they were fantastic. And this old man could barely move. He could barely walk, but in him was this rhythm. Even in there, with shuffling along, but he felt that rhythm. And that's incredible. It's inside him because it's in his language, in his birth. And you have it inside you. You just need to show it a bit better, that inside rhythm that just doesn't deviate from anything in there. I wonder if that's something that you've thought a lot about, the rhythm in this. Yeah? A lot.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it. It's just not always easy
to execute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Just execute being the right word sometimes, yeah. Yeah, I know. It's difficult to do. But you can do it. Yeah, you must be driven in a way. You must not let your technique influence what the rhythm does. You must always think the rhythm first and then build your technique to produce the rhythm. It mustn't accommodate. Not in this music. Sometimes other music, okay, but not in this, because this needs this da 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 dee, really, 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 really strict. Right, try. Yeah. Is there a chance of holding the pedal da 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 through those? When you're holding, yeah, when you've got these jumps. I'm sorry I don't play this piece, so you'll have to forgive me for not playing it. But then when you've got through that, hold it through that, if possible, so that you've got the line singing.
Yeah, and then...
Yeah.
And then to clean it.
Yeah, just a little bit, yeah. Yeah. I think this, and then this, when you're not getting right over to it, so it's each time a little bit untidy when you go down there. It's a big jump. Try and get your body over, not just your swing over. Yeah, that's it. So you just need to be a little bit more physical with your body. You know, people say this, don't they, that we're very sedentary. We sit, oh yeah, it's lovely, you sit down all day working. Huh? It's very physical. And we use every bit of our body, and you know, so our legs, everything. And this, and especially from the back upwards, is really important. And we can use the tops of our legs, and we can move on this so that we pivot over. So you're actually using this. Don't lose your sense of gravity, but use your muscles to move. If you try and sit rigidly, you're not going to be able to do it because it's too far. So a little bit more physical. Try again. Good. Right, from the beginning again. Now, real energy. Ba, ba, yep. Very good. So the first section will come with a bit of practice, a little bit more, but this is... We lose that. You're trying to be mezzo forte, but it just becomes a sort of... Yeah. Articulate. Ba, 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 ba. Not too loud.
I think it's nice to... More. Like the left hand.
What do you think? What do you like?
I think this should be like really, but the left hand should like penetrate.
Yeah. Right, well that's much better because you're actually listening to both. First time you were trying to bring the left hand through so much that I couldn't hear the right hand, and that's probably what happened. So now you bring the right hand up just a little bit. As I said, the rhythm is the lifeblood. That's the rhythm. Da 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 dee da da. If that becomes a mumble, you can't hear it. It doesn't make sense. And whatever you're trying to voice in the left hand won't have a hook to hang on because you haven't got the rhythm going on. Da 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 dee buddy. So make sure you can hear both with a little bit more singing, perhaps in that, but don't lose the articulation. It's not just about the sound. It's not just about the sound, is it? It's about the articulation, the quickness of the speed of the repetition. Not this is. It's a bit sluggish.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, fingers. Ah. Yeah, that's it.
So more from the...
It's more fingers, more energy in those fingers. Every single note, hearing it so that it really feels. That's the rhythm. Then I can hear everything. Then it's exciting. Exciting for our audience because they can hear it. Great. Okay, let's go on from there. Not sluggish. Da, 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 da. Okay, so now he gives us tiny bits of articulation changes in terms of some slurring, right? So I think it would be really useful if you could do ta-da, ta-da, this one is ta-da-da, all of those. Make those feel more legato, as if they just have a little bit more curvature in the sound, rather than just a da-da-da, ta-ya-dee. Yes. Yeah, something like that. Tia-da-da-dee, tia-da-dee. And those as well. They're legato, and then there's your rhythm in the left hand. Your left hand is rhythm, this is smooth. Yeah. Yeah. Try.
The pedal.
Yeah, so you're worrying about the pedaling. I think just hold through, up, and yeah. Da-da-dee-ba-ba. Yeah.
The break, yeah.
Absolutely, I would break. Yeah, because again, it gives a little bit more energy in the da-da-dee, up. Yeah, ta-dee-dee, da-da-da, then ta-da-da, ta-da, ta-da, ta-ya, think ta-ya. Yes, exactly. Right, okay, now back again from the same place. Those slurs were fantastic that time, made much more musical sense. Really good. Now, when you finish that end, the postscript there is this da 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 da. Absolutely, as you 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 jump. Yeah, okay. And this da 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 da. Make those again articulate after you've had ta da da. They're different. Yes, they're different from the ta-ya. Yeah, you're holding the pen. Yes. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I would also do da 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 dee dee dee. I wouldn't take too much time to prepare for that. But da dee in rhythm, in time. Bobby, hello. Da dee. Absolutely in time. Da 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 dee da dee da da. In time. Yes. So absolutely strict, so that I can't move you. I want to feel that you're absolutely there, strict and strict with a pulse. Look from here again. Good. Is a little bit over the bar line. It's the same place. That one. You take too much. Again, it's that upbeat. It's a little bit too. Perhaps you're trying to be expressive, but it doesn't quite work. Again, it gets out of time. Yes, that's it. Exactly. Once again. That going into this, to the energico part there, it sounded like a different piece, which was fantastic. Now, again, when you come down here to the agitato, again, be careful with the articulation, separate it, and this, what is it? Be careful, I think you're slightly lazy with it. It doesn't to me really feel strong. Exactly. It's like it's separate tongued, isn't it? Da 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 da, not da 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 da. Da 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 da. Every note. Okay. You might want to pedal a little bit for sonority. very good. I like that. You know, even when you pedal with those repetitions, if you join them with your hands, the pedal will smudge even more, blur even more. If you separate it like you were just doing there, and you hear it even with the pedal, I can still hear that really good articulation, which gives me the rhythm, which is so much better than a little bit more. You know, it's just a tiny bit of laziness in the fingers, that's all. Not you don't intend it, it's just the fingers are not behaving themselves. You just need to pick up a bit more. So you just have to be...
It's also here.
Yeah, except you don't want to be too loud there, do you? Fabulous, much better. It's already sounding like a different, I mean, it was very, very good to start with, but I can hear everything. That's what I want to hear, is the clarity of the texture, which is so much better. Well done. Okay, now, with the way that you finish the trill, you'll hear, yeah. When you finish it, where are you going to finish it?
So,
on F sharp.
yes,
Right.
on F sharp.
Okay, and how?
But is it the same of, like, because otherwise we'll be,
Yes.
and we don't want that, right? So
No, and it says rallentando.
Yeah.
He says rallentando. So you want to slow it down. So the trill just at the very end, you keep it trilling for a while and then just slightly turn it. Give yourself time before you place the next beat. If you do, you haven't got time. How are you trilling? How are you fingering it?
I do like,
Oh, really? Wow. Okay. It's very good. You want to just measure it, just the last bit. I'm not doing it very well, but you can measure it just a little bit better. Slow. That's the idea. The idea.
yes.
Yeah.
No. Okay, still no. It's too much.
It's too much. But the idea is, right, you can practice that and think, I think you need to consider it very carefully, because with a trill like that, it just gets thrown away and we go on to the next passage instead of thinking carefully how we go from that into the next section. And that's one of the very, very important places, because we're showing a second idea, a second subject, if you like. So it needs to just give way into that. And you don't want it to too much, because it sounds, yes, a little bit limp if it's too slow. But definitely give way a little bit. So you can practice that, and then going on to this next section. Now, I think this needs to sing more. It's piano, but it didn't sing very much in the first time round. So I think you could make it, think about it as being more cantabile. He says dolce and pastorale. So very, you know, relaxed in a way, more relaxed in rhythm in a way than the outside of this da 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 dee, but cha da dee da dee, a tiny bit of rubato, but not too much. You haven't got time. But just a little bit more freedom, just not quite so taut. Just let it just bend a little bit. Those are all legato, aren't they? Da 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 dee da dee da dee da 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 da. Those still want to be legato. I think you do. It's too. It's not pastoral. Ta da da. This is your open strings fifths. Ta da da. You've got that, so you need to think ta ya dim ta dee ta da do. Just a little bit more legato. It sounded good to me. I think the tempo's not right, though. I think you're a little bit rushed on this. But in a way, probably we're taking too much of the art tempo when we start the second subject. So start it back in tempo. Just think of your opening. Dum dum da dee. Yeah.
So
Play me your opening of you. Yes, right. Yeah, a little bit, just a little bit more moving, yeah. Don't rush. Right, why do you want to give us so much of the left hand at this moment? It feels a bit ugly. Bop, beat, beat to me.
I wanted like the rhythm because suddenly it's like ta 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 ta.
Yeah.
Again, so I kind of want to show it.
Yeah, maybe too much. You know, sometimes when we have that idea, it's like when we're teaching ourselves and we teach a student. I'm sure you teach yourself too. Do you teach students? A little bit, right. So you tell your student, okay, 1 week, the left hand has to be a little bit more there so that we can hear the rhythm. The next week it comes back, the left hand is completely drowning out what's happening in the right hand. And you say, no, the left hand's softer. And the student says, but you said it has to be louder. So, you know, it's a question of measuring it very, very much more carefully. Sometimes we can think we want to do something more, but we exaggerate it, and then it becomes too much. So the idea is good, but don't drown what's happening in the right hand. The right hand still gives you the rhythm. Da-da-dee, da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, I like that better. I like it much better. Let's do from here. Da-da-da-dee. Yeah, let me do from there. Yeah, sorry. Yes. Oh, sorry, yeah. That's it. That one. Sorry, yes. Don't lose your right hand. Much better. No, the crescendo is it's much more musical. Otherwise, you just sound too much. So the idea: keep your left hand firm there, but not covering your right hand. Very good. Now this this repetition, which has to have an inner rhythm. It's not just repeated notes. Da 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 da. This piece reminds me of those of you who knew the very famous teacher Hamish Milne, who was a dear man. I don't know if any of you ever came across him, but he was one of the greatest pianists. He was a big pianist who played Mettner. He recorded a lot of Mettner, and he was a teacher at the Royal Academy of Music and for many years, and a very, very, very fine musician and a very funny person. And he was incredibly good at putting words to rhythms. And I remember observing a class once when he was doing something like fives and sevens, and how he was trying to get people to get that rhythm right. Now, this won't mean very much to you because you won't know this actress, but he used to say the words Gina, Lola, Brigida, and it was an amazing sort of way of articulating those fives and sevens, Gina, Lola, Brigida. You know, and he'd say that really a lot. He loved this using alliteration, and this is what we need to think about here. Where I'm not suggesting you think of that, but you need to think about articulating because it has an inner stress. Lola Brigida had a middle stress, you know, rather than Lola Brigida. So da 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 da. There's something in there that has that inner stress, and that's where you've got to find that so that you feel that rhythm. Da 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 ba 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 ba. Yeah, try it. very good. He writes violento at this moment, which means violent, of course. And, you know, it's hard to be violent. That's the last thing we want to be as pianists. But he means that absolutely what you're doing is great. And the sound is very good quality. You're not over direct with that. What I could do with this here is with those sweeping left-hand scales, if you have the courage to give a bit more crescendo to the top of them, so that we hear all of them. Yeah. And articulate them. Yeah, very good. Yeah, that's your, yeah. Well done, very good. That's your engine. Your left hand's your engine and it's pushing up. And it needs to really, really, really climb so that it's exciting. That gives you the excitement with that crescendo going up. Please, that's very good. Okay, good. Let's, then you have this, that's a good word, medieval, I like that. That's exactly right. It just feels like that, doesn't it? Like a chant. Da, 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 da. So keep it steady. Don't rush too much, yeah? Going on. Yeah. Yeah, it's not actually pianissimo, is it? It's a little bit more than that. Yeah, okay, so show and define those quick notes that come before the melody. Ja da da dee da jum, jum, jum. Don't rush into them. Just give them definition, exactly. Yes. Yeah, beautiful. Not pianissimo, no unicorda. Recap, right? So here we have this a huge explosion. I think you could be a bit braver and hold your pedal a little bit longer. Ba, yum, bum, bum, ba. Hold it all the way through. I wouldn't worry about that. I think it needs to feel as if that's the climax, and the sonority that you need from holding pedal is bigger. That's very good. That was terrific. That was so much better because it was clearer. Yeah, it was really good, wasn't it? You could hear it so much better. Just give yourself, it's just a fraction of time before you play each group. That's all you need, not to rush into it. Very good. Excellent. Very good. Let's go from here. Da-da. And when we get to there, can we please hold the pedal longer so that we feel that we've arrived somewhere for the sonority? Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think you need to change at that moment, don't you? Yeah. At the top of the instrument here, that here you got da, and then this one. That's what you want in model D. You got it. So you want to hear that da 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 da. That will give you the energy to propel up to the top. Doesn't matter even if the rest of it isn't quite as loud, but I think that first bass note, which is so deep, needs a kick. Yeah. Bass. You don't wait enough time. Da 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 dee da. You've got a little bit more time than you want to. Da 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 da. And then just breathe before you. Even if you use a third finger, if you want to be strong. Da, yeah. Da, 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 da. Yes, exactly. Stronger. Yeah. Yes, you might absolutely, whatever you've got, all 5 if you like. No, it's fine. 2 fingers is good, and that will give you a really, really strong. And then da-da-da-da-da-dum, then you've got this. You've got it in you. You need to work on it, but it's great. Already it's much better. Hold. Not too much. Okay. Yeah, not too much here. Articulate.
Not connecting, because then it gives it like...
Right, I like that. I think I just want just a bit of gap for the ear to realise, and also for the pedal to come up, and also for us to feel that we've arrived. Otherwise, we kind of fall into that, don't we? It doesn't allow us to be strong, actually. You just need that breath to be able to regroup, if you like, and get your sound better. So yes, I like a tiny bit of time, which not time, but silence. So take your pedal off at the top, yeah? Yeah. That's great. I like. Yeah. Did it feel enough? Or did you want to do more?
No, it was just, no, it was good.
It was okay?
Yeah.
You sure?
Let's try again.
This da-da-da-da-da-da, this, I think, if possible, to think a little bit more like a concertina where you're going ya-da-da-dee-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, like this, rather than da-da-da-da-da-da. It's not gunshots at this moment. It is later with this. Da-da-da-da-da-da. But yeah, think of smoothly da-da-da-dee-da-da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, I would pedal a little more. Change, 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 change. Right. To me, it sounds like, you know, like a peal of bells. Ya-da-da-dee-da-dee-da-da-da-da. So I think if the sound in that moment, for me, if it's a little bit more legato, which he writes also with those lines, or sound more like bells. Yes. Yes. I can't hear anything in those last 2 bars. All I can hear is noise.
Okay.
Now, you need to do something about it, because otherwise it just sounds like you in a bad mood. And you don't intend it, because you're a very, very sensitive musician. So please, da-da-dee-da-dee-da-da-dum. So I would actually think a little bit more about thinking perhaps a crescendo. I know it says fortissimo, whatever, but just think through to this is where you're aiming for, isn't it? So you don't want to hear too much of that, and before you get to that, that's right. Yes, and then you want to really land on this bass line. Yeah, it's your 5th finger again. It's a little bit weak at the bass.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So da 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 da. Right, now let's go back onto that. It was so much better. Ido. Yeah, and wait for the last one. Then, whatever it is. What is it? Yes. Yes. So you wait for it. Don't start these down and rush it. You've got time. Finish it, right? Yes. No, it's too early. Just a little slower. Right, now do from here. From here. some of these things are very personal, and ideas that you know you can consider and think about and throw away if you don't like the ideas. But I think the overall effect is much more clear, and the intent is clearer as well. It's the first movement that bothered me the most. That's why I said it got better as it went on, and especially the third movement shows what an artist you are, a real artist. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Really impressed. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Great pleasure, my dear. Thank you. Good boy. Thank you. Good. I think we break now for a few minutes for a cup of tea and come back in, I think, around 10 to, if that's right. Thank you. going to very, very happily welcome Huan Zhang, who's going to play the Brahms Opus 10 ballades, all 4 of them, and we will hear them because they're marvelous pieces and they're sort of connected as well. So we will hear them all from Huan. Thank you. much, Juan. And I'm very happy to hear those. We don't hear them played as a set very often, and we know, of course, number 1 is the most famous of all of them. But they're just amazing pieces. You play them very, very heartfelt, and really some deep thoughts gone into that, and I can feel that from you. I appreciate that very much. I think sometimes, perhaps, in this music, it's easy to, in trying to be so expressive, it's easy to wallow too much in that sort of expressivity, and it just becomes a little bit too much like that. And we have to always bear in mind that Brahms was, you know, he was a classicist in some ways. He was always thinking, it was Beethoven and, you know, all this sort of structure that's there that needs to be shown. And if we wallow too much, we can sometimes lose the intensity of the music. I know you mean it very sincerely, and that speaks to us. But sometimes we lose you because you're just a little bit too wallowy in it. So I think we need to tighten up a few things in terms of where you would, if you would slow something down, that you don't start slowing it too early on, because then we've got nowhere to go. Likewise, if some of your colour could be a little bit more interesting in terms of some of the harmony. When the harmony changes, you could show us a little more the harmony colour change. And also the narrative in this music, you know, ballads, right? What's a ballad? What is it?
Ballad is poem
or story, yeah, a story narrative, that's right, a poem, exactly. And we know that the first one, we know all the story of that, which is very grim. Do you want to tell? Most of our audience will know, because they're...
It's about patricide, which is, the poem was named Edward, and the story tells about the son appears in front of the mother and with a sword which has blood on it. So the mother asks, what did you do? And the son said, oh, I killed my horse, or something like the hunt of animals. And then the mother said, you are lying, it's not that you didn't kill the horse. And then after a while, he said that actually I murdered my father. And the mother said, how can you do that? And what would happen? What do you plan to do afterwards? And he said, I wish to escape from the country, and also I will leave my wife and children alone, and I will escape to a place where no one knows me. And the mother said, how about me? And then the son said, actually it's you who asked me to kill my father. So he indicates that the murder was actually implicated by the mother. And that was the whole story of the first poem. And
it's grim, isn't it? It's really a grim story. And it shows us with this, you know, it applies, of course, to the first, famously to the first of the ballads. One could, if you stretched it a little bit, you could actually see elements of the other pieces in this, with this same theme. There's all humanity in this music. There's love, there's care, there's death. There's some sinister work as well, and all sorts of things. So we have to really bring that human side of this music to life, and which you do in many ways. But as I say, you just sometimes it sags a little bit, the music, and it needs to keep moving, or keep with that thought process of keep going through rather than dipping in and out. Focus and concentration in this music is very difficult, and especially when you have a lot of slow music, you can sometimes just switch off because you're in the moment. But actually, you need to be a little bit more thinking of what's coming next and how you're going to turn a corner. Are you all right? It's all right. What's the matter with it? It's okay. Okay, good. All right, so we've got the first one. Now, it's interesting, isn't it? He writes 4 ballads. Who else wrote 4 ballads? Chopin, exactly. And what's interesting about these is that they all, another aspect of these is that they have a lot of B minor in them, or there's a relationship of the B minor, so D major or this B major. But basically you feel that, and D minor of course as well as D major. But the B minor is kind of, feels to me like it's the hub of these pieces. And what is B minor key? What is that famous for?
Like dark, I don't know.
Dark, yeah, dark, yeah. It's the death key, right? Which is kind of appropriate here. So when you think about the whole, these four pieces, which it is said, isn't it, that only this poem applies to the first. However, the rest of them are linked with this kind of, you know, B minor that keeps coming and featuring. So you want to think about that. Perhaps that's what he had in mind. There is relief in some of the others. The last one particularly, which is a little bit, I suppose, in some ways Schumannesque. It's like a homage to Schumann, this melody line, this beautiful poetic line, which is very much a Schumann style of melody, although it's not his. It isn't Schumann, but it still feels like it could be. So he's early, fairly relatively early work, but very, very dark. Now, darkness is also difficult to achieve in sound. Because you've got to be able to get the warmth of the sonority without it being too bright, too steely, and without it being too singing in sometimes. Sometimes it needs to be more dull. Sometimes it needs to be, and I don't mean dull in terms of the way it comes across. I mean in terms of the sound, it needs to be a little bit more covered, perhaps is the right word, and muted. But I do think that you could think a little bit more about how you keep this line and this intensity of line going a bit better. Also, the orchestration. Brahms, of course, very, very famous for orchestration and writing orchestrally. And this is very, that's very, very orchestral. And it needs to sound orchestral. And sometimes you get a little bit too excited too soon and build it too soon, and then you've got nowhere to go. So the whole of this idea of focus and concentration just needs to just ramp up a little bit so that you could really get much better complete story in this ballad, rather than bits and bobs where you get flashes of inspiration which are marvellous, and then you switch off. So I just sense that. So if you can, and it's interesting because the audience sense that too, and they will know when you're focused and when you're not. So it transmits something, you know. Okay, let's just do the opening once again. This opening is very, very dark, and we're thinking about the way that we make a dark colour. It's piano. It's not singing. We don't want that top line to sing too much. We just want this. And the spacing is extraordinary, isn't it? When you think about how far your hands are, they're not written here. This is deep. So that in itself is quite a lot darker than we would otherwise have done if it was spaced differently. Singing, but with a lot more thinking of darkness in the left hand. Try. That because you're doing so many repetitions. Can you just play it without the repetitions now? Think carefully before you don't. It's no good doing this. It won't help you at all. Yeah, think ahead of when you play before you play. Right, I think there's a little bit, for me, there's too much top line. Is it possible that you could think of less top line? You've got octaves. Right, that's too much middle now, but the idea is there. Now let's think about both together. Yeah, I'm still not here. I'm hearing some of it, but not all of it. I'm hearing some notes beautifully, and other notes I can't hear anything. Hard. Yes. Good. Right, and why would you want to stop at the end of that bar? Da, ta, stop. To me, you've only just got going, so that's what I mean about keep stopping. Don't do that. Dum, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. If it keeps stopping, the music sits down too much. Right, can you voice that? It's much more mysterious. This is okay, less dark. No, there's no difference. That's it. Bravo, go on. And 2, 1, 3, 4. Right, now. I think this could go a touch faster because we've had this darkness and then suddenly we change the key into slight different sonority. This is the narrative. This is saying this is what I've done. You know, I've actually done this. The first is just the atmosphere. This is the narrative. And then an answer, if you like. Unbelievable. And then we go back into the dark room. And back to the tempo 1. But it needs this narrative needs to move a little bit. Poco più molto. Yeah, and the sostenuto. It's, oh, help. Take your time. Dark again. Now deep and dark. Don't keep repeating. You're not making it any better. Right, good. Bit more. Good. Right. More narrative move. Right, now this is where the explanation comes in. the next bit, right? It's like, this is what happened, okay? So you've got to prepare for that. You've got to give this introduction, and to the fact that it's got bare fifths like that. They're so bare, it's cold. Yeah? It's really, there's no, or even that, there's no middle. So better, right? So bigger. Then we just start to think, okay, and this is what happened. And you're building up, and it becomes more and more desperate as it goes through, because this is the story. Okay, so prepare, give us a lead, if you like, for what's going to come ahead. Let's do from the Poco Più motto again. Yeah? Now slowly. And to the right, here we go. It's pretty good. It built much better that time than the first time, maybe because you feel a bit more confident now. It's always nerve-wracking playing the first time too. I think I'm hearing too much of this to start with. I want to hear a little bit. I want to hear this tenor voice, which is the narrative again. I don't want to hear this. This is your strings, but it's there, but it's present, and it's also repeat, and it becomes more important because it becomes more of a figuration as the crescendo happens. It becomes more of the melody. But to start with, that triplet is in the background. So the melody is this line in the tenor. Now, when you start off with this, this is like saying, okay, so here you are, mother. This is what happened, right? Ta-dim, da-da-dim. And when you get to the crescendo, when it's every time the harmony shifts, you need to change the color. So you need to change the sound when you've got to, this one is, you just don't think you're going to go any further. You are. And then to there, then there, then there. You're going on and on and on. It becomes more and more insistent. Therefore, it becomes fatter and broader and bigger in sound. You start it much less, and let those triplets become more present as you go through. And every time you change louder to a different harmony, bring it up as if you've put another bit more foot on the gas, right? Okay, start off gently with the left hand singing, yeah? Yeah, can I hear a little bit more? Yeah. I want to hear just a bit more fifth finger, yeah? Good. Because they're too easy. You do. It's like, okay, they're just loud triplets. No, each one of those triplets is painful, and each one of those words is each one of those notes on the triplet is a word. Da da da, yeah. Da, 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 yeah, da, da. So they need to be weighty. If they haven't got the weight, they're too lightweight and too fluffy. Da 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 dee, da 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 da. They need to be big and fat. Ya da da da, ya da da da, ya da da da, ya da da da. Each one of those means something in your eyes. Okay?
Yeah.
Remember. Good girl. Excellent. Good. Good. Change then. Going up. Da da dee. Ya ta ta ta. And more. Da 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 dee. Ya da da da. Ya da da da. More. Okay, it's too weak. It's a little bit weak. It's a little bit weak. It's getting there. We're getting there. You're already starting to think of those repetitions much more meaningfully, which is good. This is, I think I could have a bit more, don't worry about that. That won't get in the way. It's deep. You want it. And then you've got this, arrive on those changes of harmony. It's too, I think you need more sonority. Hold the pedal a lot longer. Hold the pedal. Okay, exactly. Yeah, no, it's all right. So it's fine. Well done. Anyway, let's go from the B major. From there and feel those, yeah? Crescendo to there, go towards there. Yeah. Juan, if you just give yourself a little bit more space, you can do it. Just give yourself a little bit more space, it'll be even better. Da 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 dee. Yeah. Yeah, but don't stop from them. Da 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 dee, but da 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 dee. Yes. Just give up a little bit too early. Just keep up the intensity, keep up the sound. He says sempre fortissimo. Keep it up, but also keep the movement. Because if you slow down, and it's like, the music sags again. Okay, you don't need that. You've got another page to go, and quite an important part to do with the coda, which has this very sinister moment. So keep that moving. Otherwise, it's just going to sound as if it's getting slower and slower. And again, you will switch off, so will your listeners. Yes. So just keep it, because you can do it. So keep it. Yeah? Yeah. No, this one. No, this one. Yeah. Keep moving. Keep up. Then you can start to relax. Start to relax. Oh, that chord. Ugh. It's that, isn't it? It's a stab. So you need to think of it, even though it's piano, pianissimo, but it does have an accent, you need to prepare for it. And more E, ta. Is it, It's a little bit too much, yeah. I can't hear anything there, so just once again, clearly, yeah. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, just a little bit more. So play with the silence as well. The silence is just equally as important, of course, and the more you can play with that, the more dramatic it will be. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Okay, all right, so there's some rhythm funny things there. Again, be careful. That's in time again. Now this, that is really sinister. And I think it needs to be, especially this, when you've got this. It's like the last bit of pulse, you know, as a dying person. Whoever's dying, isn't it? It's miserable, but but if you can feel this da 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 da, yeah, and that's what it should feel like. This, yeah. Good, well done. Yeah, I can't quite feel your rhythm. It's not quite there. It's almost there. It's very, very good what came before that. But when we got to this, it's again a little bit too flexible. You know, it should be absolutely as it is. Da, 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 getting more faint. Missing darkness. Yeah, so don't put the chord down. You know, one of the hardest things in music is to play in piano playing anyway, is to play a quiet chord. Because we all struggle with that. We can, you know, play lots and lots of fast notes, but playing a quiet chord and getting it well balanced is so difficult. Then just don't put it down until you're ready. Ready. Get the weight, feel the weight of the keys underneath your fingers and drop your weight. Don't rush into it. Yes, that was very good. Can we just do from here? Then, and dark. Really dark. Sorry. You want to hit the F, really important, yeah. Wherever you like, yeah. It's hard to pick up, sorry. Yes. da dee dee da da dee. Too loud. Less. Less. Left. So now give yourself weight. Feel it. No, because your F, your second finger, was going down before the rest. You just be a little bit more in control. It's belief as well as anything else. Ta, and then just control, hold up, and sink. If it's a bit too loud, doesn't matter, as long as you hear everything. And then relax and drop. Yeah, you still could give yourself a little more time. And then wait. Right. Okay. So don't forget, your head is in control of what you're doing, and don't let your fingers be in control of what you're doing. You know, just control that. So last chord, it's up to you when you put it down. Nobody's going to tell you when to play it. Nobody's going to criticize when you play it. You have to believe that you've got time, drop. And when it's going to be dropped, it's going to be perfect, beautifully balanced. And that's because you've got the weight, you're feeling the weight of the keys underneath your hands. If you try to do that and try to drop too quickly, you'll fall into it by mistake. So just give yourself control. That's terrific. Much better than the first time round, because you really built that much more, and I could feel that you were a little bit more under control rhythmically. Gosh, we spent a long time on that, didn't we? Let's just take for some light relief. Let's take the last one, where I think is more optimistic, isn't it? It's beautiful melody. But it still starts with this kind of. It's still not completely. It's still not completely settled. It's still this leaning of that leaning note going up to the D sharp. But it's more sunny and it's more beautiful. And just think about the way that you keep this flowing. He writes Andante con moto, which to me suggests it needs to flow a little bit more. And I felt like I was waiting too many over bar lines too many times. Dee, dee, yes? Just start as if okay, so don't start and think, okay, I've got to start this. Think about the music as if it's starting before. So think about it in your head, dee, da, dee, da, dee, da, dee, da, and just join in with it. That's it. Good. Keep it moving. Bass line. Right, now from the texture point of view, can we have a tiny bit more fifth finger in the left hand? Not quite so much da 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 dee da in the middle. And just as you did, that time was beautiful because you joined in more and it started more easily. It didn't feel like I've got to sort of kick-start it. Just join in da dee 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 da 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 bass line, bass, more bass. Yes, two, keep on top. Beautiful. Long lines, good. Less. Sing, keep on it, love it more. Keep it moving, long lines, line, sorry, my fault. Don't stop too soon. Yes. Little bit more. Yes. Yeah, and then of course it goes into more mysterious mode again. But just keep it singing long lines. Do you sing yourself? Good. Do you sing when you practice?
I should more.
Yeah, I bet your teacher sings with you. Yeah? Oh, I know she does.
So,
yeah, so you need to get someone and sing yourself too, because the more you feel the phrase naturally when you sing it, the better you'll play it. You know, if you're trying to play at it, it won't make any sense. But if you're playing with it and with the breath, then you can do it. It's very important, and so much is like Lieder here. We just need to really play the instrument as if we're breathing it. We're very bad as pianists. We don't breathe properly. So just breathe with the sound and go with the flow, if you like, and keep it moving. Very good. We're going to have to stop, but thank you so much for playing so beautifully and for responding so well. Well done. Thank you, Juan. Thank you. Thank you. Good. Thanks. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. It's been a great pleasure to be here today. Thank you so much for your attention and for staying with it all the way through. Thank you. Thank you.
These hard pieces aren't made for young people to understand.
Well, very hard. And so